Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. We are here with Doug Small, Ashland's Public Works Director. Doug, welcome back to Around the Clock.
Thank you, Yolanda. Good to see you.
The last time we had a chat with you, we were standing outside at the Shaw's Plaza. Route 126 construction was just getting started. Probably about a year ago, maybe a little less.
It was cold out, wasn't it?
It was a little chilly. It was windy.
It was windy, that's right.
Windy.
Yeah.
Route 126 has seen a lot of changes since that all started.
Yeah, so they were just breaking ground.
They were just breaking ground on some stuff, yeah. And we now have the Roundabout at Shaw's. We have construction getting a little further along on the change of the intersection by Dunkin' Donuts. That's moving forward. So let's start at the Holliston end.
Okay.
Where we've probably seen the most change since the construction has started.
Right.
The Roundabout.
Okay. All right. So here we are. It's second week of August.
Second week of August.
And so on the Holliston end, what was pretty amazing a week or two ago was I got some pictures, and also from driving out there, the amount of earth that was removed from Route 126, and it was something I've never seen in the town of Ashland before.
When you say earth removed, from the road surface or from the sides of the roads?
From the road itself.
Really?
The cutting in the road, and it had to be maybe 6 feet of earth just completely removed.
Wow.
And then they would regrade it and build it back up. But so you'd see one lane with vehicles traveling on over here, and on the other side is where the excavator was digging, and it was just a really impressive photo or whatever. But so what's going on right now is basically it's the base, it's the binder, it's the rough.
Okay.
So right now the contractor, who's Northern Construction, this summer has made remarkable progress.
Yes.
It's fantastic. It's been brutal out there for the traveling public, as we all know. It has been brutal, but the progress that they made this summer has been wonderful.
Yeah.
Having as much as they have done now, before school starts up is a home run. It's really great. So go ahead.
And part of the concern was they had asked to do night work.
Right.
And then everyone was like, well, why aren't they doing night work? And they couldn't find the staff to do the night work. So how did that... Did that extend the schedule at all, or are we seeing things having to take a little bit longer because of that?
I don't know if it's. I'm sure the weather is a factor in this. It's been so dry.
Right.
So originally, we were trying to do a lot of this at night, as you know.
Right.
I think you start running into issues having flaggers working at night.
Okay.
I don't know if that's permit. Yeah, it's a safety.
Oh, okay.
So that changed everything. So they ended up. Just going after it, full days, from 7 in the morning until sometimes 7 at night, unfortunately.
Right.
So originally we did try to do it at night and to help the businesses and all that, and we just ran into some complications that we were not able to do it, unfortunately. But like I said, it's just amazing how far and how fast Northern got this summer.
Right.
They have the entire stretch. I think the entire stretch is paved.
Yeah.
Has the
so
binder
that's
down.
the binder. So that's the base.
Right.
And we won't see the final paving until next summer.
Right.
After everything is done.
Right.
So the Roundabout is in now at Shaw's.
Right.
Is that going to be, and I haven't looked at the plans in a while, is that going to be one lane around that, or is it going to be 2 lanes around that?
It's supposed to be 1 lane, but the way it's designed, the way you actually enter the roundabout, it almost feels like it's 2 lanes.
Okay. Because of the turning off lanes that you have as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Wasn't it amazing? It was to see it live as opposed to on paper.
Right.
It looks so big, you know. I'm like, wow, and it's really huge. And every day I get somebody saying, what were they thinking? What were they thinking? And I just kind of say, I think it's going to work.
Right.
I think it's going to be great.
Right.
So,
yeah.
time will tell. They're putting in roundabouts everywhere nowadays.
Right. Right. Well, I think that they're finding that it is traffic calming.
Yeah.
And helps with pedestrians. Certainly that intersection. I remember sitting in Shaw's trying to get across, and it was just so crazy. So this will certainly help with that.
Take a long time.
We just may have to ask our police department to do a class in how to drive through a roundabout.
Right.
So the roundabout is in. We keep going down to the Elliott Street intersection.
Yes.
There's been some work done there by the bank and that whole hill that has to be moved.
Yep.
More obviously has to be done. What is the time frame we're seeing for that? Is that a next year finishing project?
Yes. So right now, a lot of the drainage has been done. The drainage infrastructure is in the ground.
Good.
So then they came in, and a lot of the gas work is also completed. And then you also notice a lot of the utility poles, the new utility poles, have been set.
Yep.
In probably 98% of the areas. There are one or two complicated areas that we're working with Eversource Electric to get that ironed out. But overall, most utility poles are in.
Okay.
So now you'll see, like you said, you saw the rough with the roundabout.
Yep.
You saw some work at Elliott Street and Pond Street, the intersection, which is great. Yep. And then coming down the hill towards Reliable Fence, you see more of that. And you're starting to see the shoulders you can actually see the shoulders where the future sidewalks are going to go.
Yeah, I saw some curbing today just before Butterfield. I was like, oh, look, there's curbing in the ground. So that was cool to see.
So that's what's going on that end. On the Framingham end is they're starting to install the granite for the sidewalks.
Now, we're not all the way to Framingham yet, right? There's that section has to do with some gas work, some utility work, and there's, am I correct that some things still haven't been completely worked out?
What's the Christmas tree place?
I know what you mean.
Higgins, maybe?
Yes, Higgins,
So that's kind of the cutoff, right?
Okay.
So you're right. From there, heading back towards Holliston, all that is done, but there was still some water work that had to be done in front of Market Basket.
Okay.
Right. So, anyways, so that's so things will be better out there traffic-wise, but not much better, unfortunately. Right. It will be better.
The road is smoother, so that helps.
The road's smoother. That's a home run. That's awesome. That helps a lot, honestly. And I was stuck out there today, and honestly, it was less than 10 minutes. Yeah. It was 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad. I think it's important that everybody continue to try to give business.
Yes, come over to this side.
On Route 126.
And just
please
some patience and some extra time.
Right. Yes, and then we still have the street lights to go.
Yep.
So the street lights. So I think they poured some of the foundations. I'm not sure yet if they got to the foundations.
Yeah.
But so they're moving along really great, and like I said, we should see the sidewalks in place, and eventually, hopefully, more utility work with the utility poles this fall. Hopefully, because now they have to take the old lines
and put them
on the new poles.
On the new poles, right?
So,
and we know we're at the mercy of Eversource and the two.
Right.
Communication company and stuff. Yeah.
And I know. I mean, imagine how busy those Eversource.
Everyone's doing construction right now.
Gases right now.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to be patient and just, hopefully they'll get here sooner than later.
So what's the current estimated completion date?
I think the final pave.
Fun ribbon cutting. No, done sidewalks. Is it 2023 or are we pushing out to 2024?
There's a chance the final pave will happen next fall.
Okay.
Before Thanksgiving. There's a chance.
Okay. We won't hold you to it though, because you never know what's going to happen.
I mean, but those crosswalks are going to be beautiful.
Oh, it's going to be so nice. Yeah.
The people that live on this side of town, this is going to be a treat. This is really going to change this whole side of town.
Right.
So.
And the cut for potentially the trail off of 126 by the paintball. That's still scheduled, right? And the crosswalk there?
I don't know much about that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
The
There's going to be a
crosswalk
crosswalk. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's going to tie into the railroad tracks.
Hopefully, eventually, the full Upper Charles Trail, if we can make it work as a town. But
I've never been down there.
Really?
No, a little bit, but I've never went all the way in.
It's a great walk. It's a great walk. So for you, Doug, I mean, everyone's complaining. People come to you, why did Ashland decide to do this? Why is and what has been the biggest challenge for you on this whole Route 126 project?
The biggest challenge is So even though it's a state job, it's still, we're very much involved heavily, the Department of Public Works. There's still Ashland's water and sewer infrastructure.
Okay.
Okay, so whenever there's a problem out here, we have 5 or 6 guys.
Right.
They're guys, but anyway, 5 or 6 guys that have to come in and fix that leak or whatever.
Oh, wow.
So it takes a lot away from what our staff would be doing normally, routinely. That's been a huge challenge. And as you know out here, the equipment out here is massive and it's heavy.
Yeah.
So it can easily, cause a leak or something on a service to somebody's house.
Right.
So that gets really, really frustrating. And the guys have done they've been great. They haven't abandoned ship on me yet, thank God. But we had a couple months there where things got really trying. But it knock on wood, it's been kind of quiet the last 2 or 3 weeks. But that's been work.
Right.
That's been a huge challenge.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, it's the traffic and then talking to the neighbors, some of these people that live on these side roads.
Right.
Sympathizing with them and all this, and we do the best we can, and and it's just hard when you can't, open up a side street for some. These flaggers, they don't know who lives here and there.
Right.
And I can't be everywhere at once.
Right.
To kind of to coach people on how to talk to other people.
Right.
Some people can be rude. And you try to put that fire out, and normally the damage is done. And,
right.
And you just try to get the message on. But
right.
Yeah, so that's been the biggest challenges with the water and sewer department.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Good.
Great question.
Thank you. Well, I mean, as I drive on Route 126 and certainly trying to get in here to Butterfield for the studio or trying to leave the studio, you see, I remember one time in particular, we had finished filming and I was leaving and they had just paved a section and they said, well, you have to wait a good 10 minutes before you can drive over this. And there was a car in front of me and the person was like, what do you mean you have to wait? And because it had just been pressed, it had just been done, and had we driven over it, we would have damaged it.
It's a great example. It's a great example. And how are people supposed to know that? They just put it down. The average person isn't going to know. You can't drive over.
Well, there was someone, I'm the kind of person I'll, roll my window down and ask the question, and then.
Yeah, and hopefully they're nice to you.
And they were very, very nice. Well, they didn't know me, which was fine. That's fine, but they were very nice about it. So one, other than telling people make sure you come over here, what is one other piece of advice for people who are trying to navigate 126 that you would say, please think of this as you do it?
Yeah, I mean, just please. Most people know, right? I mean, most people know what they're facing when they head this direction nowadays.
You would think.
You would think. So it's better now. It's easier to get through the Elliott Street intersection with the traffic lights and the pavement, right?
Yeah.
So it is easier. It's gotten better. It's hard to say when the good times or the bad times will be.
Right.
I guess we're all in this together. And like I said, if you just don't mind spending an extra 10 minutes, I hope. Right. Getting there. And, if we can continue, helping our local businesses, please do. And, I don't know what else to say.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, we got a ways to go, but I like to think the hard part's over.
Right. I think certainly that difference for many people from the broken up from all the digging and now that it's smooth, that makes a huge difference driving through 126.
Can you imagine being those flaggers out there with that? They got the full gear on in this heat.
I want to give them water every time I go by.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, 90 plus degree weather, and they're putting in 10, 12-hour days, and it's, you got to give them credit. I mean, it's amazing what they've pulled off so far in the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, certainly this summer we've seen that.
Yeah.
Good.
Right.
Okay, well, we'll probably ask you back in about a year and see where we are with things and maybe getting close to the finish line. I'm sure people would appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I'd like that a lot. It'd be nice if you could just remind everybody about the water ban.
Yes, we are going to be talking about that. But while we have you, remind us, stage 2 water ban.
Yes.
What does that mean to our residents?
Stage 2 water ban. So outdoor water use is restricted. You can't even use a handheld method of watering your lawn or anything like that. There are some exemptions. So go to the website, www.ashlandmass.com, and look for water restrictions, water use restrictions, Chapter 270 in our bylaws. There are a few exemptions for plants, things like that. It's more like for
food, for gardens,
Right. But trees are not part of the exemption list, unfortunately. But so everybody just needs to hang in there. Do your rain dance and all this stuff. I mean, we're definitely in much better shape this year because we have that connection done.
So
with the MWRA.
So now that we're in stage 2, have we turned on the connection yet? No. So what triggers turning on the connection to the MWRA?
It's based on one of the big criteria is the elevation of the Hopkinton Reservoir.
Okay.
Right now, so if the Hopkinton Reservoir hits 293 feet above sea level, 293, then we can activate the connection.
Okay.
But based on the bylaw. Right now, we're about 2 feet higher than 293.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if we don't get any rain, I'm guessing somewhere around 15 days from now, we could be down to the 293 level. I mean, that's one of the big criteria. There are other emergency conditions as well.
And there's some tank issues and some for fire department and pressure.
Exactly.
So this is going to be maybe an odd question, and maybe you've had this asked before, but I've always wondered, why do we do the level above sea level? It's like, and it changes. It's a minuscule change between stage 1 and stage 2.
Right.
So first question is, why do we go above sea level as the measurement?
Yeah.
And at the Hopkinton Reservoir, sometimes they will empty the reservoir to flush the lower beach, and I would expect that would impact. It
would be easier to answer that part than the elevation above the sea level. So the DCR, Mass DCR, Department of Conservation and Recreation, their priority, one of their priorities is recreation, is making sure that public beaches has fresh water.
Okay.
That's one of their priorities.
Okay.
It's not so much drinking water for the town of Ashland.
Right.
So they have to flush the beach down below. That's part of it, and it's also the aquatic life. Is also part of their.
Has to be maintained.
Right. So that's a big thing, and they do that until August 31st.
Right.
So if we can get past August 31st and still be okay, then that's more water that will be retained up in the
upper reservoir. Yeah.
Right. So, but as far as the elevation of sea level and all this stuff, I don't know. I have no idea. I just think it's a number.
I may have to do some research to find out why.
It's a great question that somehow when it was designed, based on the wells at the water treatment plant and based on the elevation, when they did all their tests, I don't know how they determined it was X number of feet above sea level.
Right.
I don't know.
Because people always say, it's not like we really get our water from the reservoir. And you go, okay, right, we don't really get it from the reservoir, but the aquifer under the reservoir. So it's an odd.
We've seen the elevation of the res be kind of. It tells us what's going on with the wells.
Okay.
So we like you said, we use wells.
Yep.
It's not surface water, which would be the res.
Right.
But it definitely there's a correlation, a direct correlation between the elevation of the wells, the water in the wells, as with the elevation of the surface water of the Hopkinton Reservoir.
Okay.
So they almost work together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Even though even though the wells are
underground.
In an aquifer, like you said.
Right. Okay.
Right. Great question.
I try.
Right.
Good. Well, Doug, thank you so much for coming back to Around the Clock. It's always a pleasure to get to talk to you and have you share with our viewers what is going on. So thank you to you and your staff for all the great work that you do. We are truly fortunate here in Ashland to have such dedicated and hardworking people with everything that you do.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
And we'll see you
soon.
Maybe 3, 4, 6 months. Hopefully.
Something. Yeah.
Oh, right, and we're almost finished.
Yeah, hold on. Don't go anywhere yet. And that wraps up our interview with Doug Small, the Public Works Director here in Ashland.